The black crow is a tricksy bird, that's so. But I was a crow when you were no bigger than the babe in Dalla's Valley, Jon Snow. So take care not to play tricksy with me. I promised you a tale before, of how I knew you. Have you puzzled it out yet? You were just a boy, and I was all in black, one of a dozen riding escort to the old Lord Commander Corgyle when he came down to see your father at Winterfell. I was walking the wall around the yard when I came on you and your brother Robb. It had snowed the night before, and the two of you had built a great mountain above the gate and were waiting for someone likely to pass underneath. I swore not to tell, and I kept my vow. That one at least. The second time was when King Robert came to Winterfell to make your father hand. When your father learned the king was coming, he sent word to his brother Benjen on the wall, so he might come down for the feast. There is more commerce between the Black Brothers and the Free Folk than you know, and soon enough, word came to my ears as well. It was too choice a chance to resist. Your uncle did not know me by sight, so I had no fear from that quarter, and I did not think your father was like to remember a young crow he'd met briefly years before. I wanted to see this Robert with my own eyes, king to king, and get the measure of your Uncle Benjen as well. He was first ranger by then, and the bane of all my people. So I saddled my fleetest horse and rode. The wall can stop an army, but not a man alone. I took a lute and a bag of silver, scaled the ice near Longbarrow, walked a few leagues south of the New Gift, and bought a horse. All in all, I made much better time than Robert, who was traveling with a ponderous great wheelhouse to keep his queen in comfort. The day south of Winterfell, I came up on him and fell in with his company. Free riders and hedge knights are always attaching themselves to royal processions in hopes of finding service with the king, and my lute gained me easy acceptance. I know every bawdy song that's ever been made, north or south of the wall. So there you are. The night your father feasted Robert, I sat in the back of his hall on a bench with the other free riders, listening to Orland of Oldtown play the high harp and sing of dead kings beneath the sea. I betook of your lord father's meat and mead, had a look at Kingslayer and Imp, and made passing note of Lord Eddard's children and the wolf pups that ran at their heels. I will not deny that Bael's exploits inspired mine own, but I did not steal either of your sisters that I recall. Bael wrote his own songs and lived them. I only sing the songs that better men have made. If I had been discovered, your father would have had my head off. Though once I had eaten at his board, I was protected by guest right. The laws of hospitality are as old as the first men, and sacred as a heart tree. Here you are the guest, and safe from harm at my hands, this night at least. So tell me truly, Jon Snow, are you a craven who turned your cloak from fear, or is there another reason that brings you to my tent? You will have heard stories of my desertion, I have no doubt. My lady here is blameless. I met her on my return from your lord father's castle. The half-hand was carved of old oak, but I am made of flesh, and I have a great fondness for the charms of women, which makes me no different from 3/4 of the watch. There are men still wearing black, who have had 10 times as many women as this poor king. No, it was for this, the black wool cloak of a sworn brother of the Night's Watch. One day on arranging, we brought down a fine big elk. We were skinning it when the smell of blood drew a shadow cat out of its lair. I drove it off, but not before it shredded my cloak to ribbons. Do you see? Here, here, and here. It shredded my arm and back as well, and I bled worse than an elk. My brothers feared I might die before they got me back to Maester Mullen at the Shadow Tower, so they carried me to a wildling village where we knew an old wise woman did some healing. She was dead, as it happened, but her daughter saw to me, cleaned my wounds, sewed me up, and fed me porridge and potions until I was strong enough to ride again. And she sewed up the rents in my cloak as well, with some scarlet silk from a shy that her grandfather had pulled from the wreck of a cog washed up on the frozen shore. It was the greatest treasure she had, and her gift to me. But at the Shadow Tower, I was given a new wool cloak from stores, black and trimmed with black, to go with my black breeches and black boots, my black doublet and black mail. The new cloak had no frays, nor rips, nor tears, and most of all, no red. The men of the Night's Watch, dressed in black, Sir Dennis Mallister reminded me sternly, as if I had forgotten. My old cloak was fit for burning now, he said. I left the next morning for a place where a kiss was not a crime, and a man could wear any cloak he chose. And you, Jon Snow?